Hey everybody, this is Percy LaPointe with Lawn and Landscape Podcast. In today's episode, I want to discuss something that I get asked quite often, and the question is, when or how do I put my second truck on the road? So when and how do I put my second truck on the road? There's many ways, and I've heard a lot of people discuss this particular issue because it's a valuable question and a viable question that I've heard a lot of lawn and landscapers ask this question, and I've also talked to some other people, get some input. And let me just try to explain to you how I've gone about dissecting the question, because and I'm going to try to explain it to the best way possible, because the method that I use works from truck 1 to 2 trucks on the road, from 2 trucks to 3 trucks on the road, 3 trucks to 4 trucks on the road, and so on and so forth. So the method and the math, I don't want you to specifically worry about the numbers that I'm going to discuss, because everybody is a little bit different. Your areas, your per man per hour rates different. So the specific numbers don't need to be exact. The methodology as to which that I'm going to discuss is what's important. So you'll have to plug your numbers into the methodology for it to work, and you'll figure out your math. So question is how and when do I get my second truck on the road? So let me first start off with my experiences, because I've always spoken from my experiences, and that's what's important. So whenever I was trying to figure out that first truck to the second truck, I personally went through. So the first question you got to ask yourself is, take all of your accounts and figure out, do I have commercial accounts? Do I have more residential accounts? Do I have larger accounts? Do I have smaller accounts? And the reason why you want to ask this is because I first fought do I put 2 men in the truck? Do I put 3 men in the truck? Do I put 4 men in the truck process? So what I figured out in my process is, I have more residential than I do have commercial, and I have everything. I have commercial, residential, and industrial, bigger facilities. So what I figured out for me is it works best as far as the per man per hour rate, the revenue generated per truck, the efficiency, everything works better for me and my business whenever I was running 2 men per truck. So for example, if I'm running 2 men per truck and they have a big facility on the route today, I would just send 2 trucks, knock it out, and then they both separate and go about their business. So I'm not saying I don't have more than 2 people per location. It's just very rare. And when I do have that particular location that I need to knock out, I'll send more than 1 truck. So that's the first question you got to ask yourself. And for me, so let me start off with, when I have 2 men per truck, here is how I go about knowing that I need another truck on the road. So basically, I'll take 2 men, I'll stick them in a truck. I figure out, okay, let's say they're working 8-hour days. I know for some of you, they're working 10 hours, they're working less, they're working more, just depends on where you're at. Our average is 8 to 10 hours per day, usually 10 hours a day, but let's just use an 8-hour easy work day. So if I used an easy 8-hour work day, and I said that my first truck is Monday through Monday through Thursday fulfilled, which means 4 days at 8 hours per day, they're completely maxed out. You can't do any more work. I figure out how to fill up that Friday's truck. So whenever I'm maximizing that truck number 1, in this example, if I'm maximizing truck number 1 Monday through Friday, I might take it upon myself, before I actually make that investment. Let's just say, in my example, I don't have the second truck, so I need to go out and purchase it. Then I need to purchase the equipment to put in that truck. So it's a very large investment for somebody like me, and everybody across the board, but somebody like me, it's a $75,000 investment. I use box trucks or dovetails, all new mowers, blowers, weed eaters. Whenever I do make that investment, usually it's all new, or we might buy a used truck but newer equipment to put on it. So it's a very hefty investment. So for me, I try to figure this out in the best way possible. And what I mean by that is, truck number 1 has to be at max capacity Monday through Friday. Once I'm at that point, then I take it upon myself to figure out, okay, let me try to put a third person on that truck. That third person may be the truck supervisor for truck number 2 in the future. okay? And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take that third person, put it on the truck number 1 with 2 people, and see how many hours or days I can take off the route. So for example, if I have 2 people at max capacity Monday through Friday, and I add a third person, am I actually getting Monday through Friday max capacity with 3 people? So I freed up 8 hours, okay? And then I might try to add a 4th person on that truck. So these 2 people that were at the back end added to the truck number 1, they may be employee number 1 and number 2 on the second truck. So then I'll also go back and look, okay, did I free up Thursday and Friday of that week with 4 people? So I'll do that, and usually whenever I'm freeing up about half the week, I'll go ahead and split up the trucks, because that usually tells me they're at least 50% max capacity for truck number 1 and truck number 2. Okay, so I'll try to get as much of it and push, and I always anytime I'm thinking about putting another truck on the road, I always do a full-blown out marketing campaign. Flyers, postcards, social media. I make sure I'm firing on all cylinders, because I want to make sure that I don't want to have a truck, employees, or equipment sitting at the shop not doing anything. It's costing me money, and time is money. So I'm very aggressive with it. If I'm thinking about, hey man, I might need to put another truck on the road, here's what I'm thinking, here's about when I think I'm going to need to do it, then I start ramping up the marketing. I typically never have problems whenever I put from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, from 3 to 4, from 4 to 5, and on up. And trust me, we have more than that of those trucks running on the road, but the same methodology and marketing and everything works every time I've done it. So if you figure out what those employees can do in a week on truck number 1, to add truck number 2, start stacking those employees on truck number 1 to see how much you can free up, so you know how many hours you can be utilized on truck number 2. When you do let those 2 guys go on a new truck or truck number 2 with their own set of equipment, you'll figure out and be able to gauge, okay, now I'm Monday through Thursday busy on truck number 1 and 2, so I have 2 days to fulfill. And so you can split up, okay, I'm going to add it to this truck and I'm add it to this truck. You'll have, when you start to grow and you start to add multiple trucks, then you'll have routing density problems. And that's for another chapter or another episode in the podcast, but I can tell you it's a good problem to have. When I started adding on trucks and taking on yards, man, I was getting them so quickly. I was adding them so fast that I might have mowed on this street today. Tomorrow, I might have accidentally didn't even notice, but right across the street, he fell on, let's just say John Doe was on Monday. I might be doing Jane Doe right across the street on Tuesday and not even notice. So route density is very important. You lose a ton of efficiency. And when you start to gain accounts, there was a point where I was taking on 50 new accounts a month. And so it was very hard to put them on the right routes, what truck, what day, et cetera. And so you'll run into those problems later on. But your main issue right now is, hey, truck number 1, truck number 2. And so I hope this helps you. This is what I've done. I hope it was clear enough for you to understand. If you have any questions, you can always email me at Percy at Lawn and Landscape Supply, spelled out. Lawn and Landscape, Percy, Percy, at lawn, LAWN, and, so AND, landscapesupply.com. Or you can always message us on Facebook. We're on Facebook with Lawn and Landscape Supply. If you just search that, you'll find us. And www.lawnandlandscapesupply.com. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.